Hello, everyone. Um,
Hello.
right off the top, we have said since we started this show that this show is not going to take off until we disagree on some things because we are always so similar.
True.
So I set this show live, and me and Logan both go to our Twitters to tweet the show.
I just saw it too.
Logan's tweet says, "Talking ball with my old pal Craig." Craig's tweet says, "Hi, hello, let's talk ball." We are so similar, it is uncanny. But here we are.
we will never have a successful podcast. We may as well just give up now.
Yeah.
Remember the
Well,
one time we hopped on here wearing the same clothes too?
yes, I went and changed. I don't think anyone saw that because I went and changed shirts. We had the same bright green Under Armour shirt on.
Correct.
I do remember that. Yes. Anyways, that's Logan. I'm Craig. This is No One Asked Us. Kind of just a hodgepodge here. It's episode 111 overall. Technically season 4, I think, of this, but I don't know how we're categorizing our show anymore. But this is the 111th episode of this. We also do post-game shows and all that. Check them out on the YouTube and all that stuff. But thanks for joining. Like and subscribe while you're here. Share it if you are on the Twitter sphere or Facebook, wherever you can find us. We appreciate it. And the main thing is hit that subscribe button. I think we're at like 640 right now. Does that sound right? 641.
641. 641.
Which is a big jump from where we were last year. Our post-game shows have really helped us out, but we want to continue to grow, and that would be greatly appreciated. So, Logan, how's life? Well, it's been 2 weeks since we did this. We took last week off because Illinois was on a bye week. Couldn't really find a good day to do this. We both have other things going on in our lives right now, so these shows might be sporadic through the fall until basketball season really kicks in. But how's life right now?
Yeah,
How's
we've kind of been on an every other week schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, we both got stuff going on. Things are good. Went back to Oakwood this past weekend. Went to see the Comets play Friday night, and then had the privilege of taking Linux and technically Bridges, my two oldest nephews, to their first movie on Saturday. So didn't watch as much college football on Saturday. Obviously, Illinois wasn't playing, so I wasn't quite as invested anyway. But went to see the new Transformers movie. Of course, Uncle Logan was the one that was going to take him to their first movie. But we had a great time. Lennox loved it. Bridges, who's a little young, he kind of got a little antsy about halfway through and had to be escorted out of the theater. But no,
By
we had
security?
Yes, by security. His 6'6" dad.
Okay.
But no, we had a great time. So yeah.
How old are they?
4 and 2, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, no, had a great time. And now we're back at it, ready to talk some life, some ball, some, as you said, talking ball. Things are good here. Yeah. How about you? What's going on with you? Anything new?
Got a baby, so that's pretty much life right now. We didn't do anything. We wanted to do last couple of weekends. We wanted to do like an apple orchard or like a pumpkin patch or something with him. 2 weekends ago was the hurricane remnants came through, so it was terrible. And this weekend we're hitting so he's 8 weeks old today, so we're hitting like there are segments like babies they're called leaps, or like every so often they do, like he's in a growth spurt right now, so he's pretty fussy. So we're like, we probably don't want to take him too far away from the house, so we just stayed home this weekend too. But yeah, he's growing like a weed, getting a little bit chunkier every day. Just trying to get him to sleep a little bit right now. So dad life, parent life, it's great.
I'm trying to get myself to sleep right now, so you know what? We're on the same page.
I mean, not only that, he had the college football slate on Saturday went pretty late because Miami didn't kick off till like 11. So I tried to watch as much of that as I could. And then last night, Sunday Night Football was postponed or delayed an hour and a half, so it didn't kick off till 9:45. it didn't get done till like 1 o'clock. So it's like, man, sleep is just few and far between right now. But it's great. All good things.
I love that for you.
Yeah. Let's talk ball.
Okay.
Want to talk ball?
I'm here to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Since we didn't do a show last week, just real quick, the last time we saw the Illini, they fell to Penn State. Was it 21-7? Is that right? I believe that's right.
Sounds right.
Yeah, 21-7. I mean, it was a one possession game for the most part, the entire game. Yeah, Penn State scored their last touchdown with 2 minutes left. So Illinois was right in it. It sucked because Illinois marched down the field in 5.5 minutes and scored, and then they didn't get another point. I don't even know if they got the red zone probably the rest of the game. So wasn't great offensive showing, but you had to love the fight. I thought they looked pretty good, go toe-to-toe with what's a top 5 team in the country now, I believe. I think they're 4th now, Penn State is. So, yeah, I loved what I saw in Happy Valley. I tweeted after the game. I don't know that you can be upset after that. You went toe-to-toe with the top 5 team, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think we need to talk about that too much. But what were your thoughts, since we didn't talk last week? Just real quickly, what were your thoughts of Penn State, and how'd you come out of that one?
Yeah, there was nothing really discouraging, I felt, through that game. I talked to a buddy that's Penn State fan who I went to the game with last year.
Yep.
He kind of felt like it was more of a beating than what the scoreboard indicated, which
Yeah.
I understand that. But as an Illinois fan, somebody who wasn't expecting a lot out of this season, just didn't really know what we were getting, I didn't really see anything that I was discouraged by. Yeah, you can certainly make the argument that the scoreboard wasn't exactly reflective of what the game was. But at the end of the day, the scoreboard's what matters, and Illinois only lost by 2 touchdowns. So, I again, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. House money. I mean, you were going out there with whiteout energy, and you kept within 2 touchdowns. And I mean, what was this? The spread was, or it was going to be what? 19 and a half or something.
19-ish. It was somewhere around.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I had nothing to complain about. I thought it was fine. And now you go into. You get a Purdue team this weekend that's not very good, and you hope you can come out of that with a win, and then you've set yourself up pretty good for the rest of the season. So yeah, I didn't really have any big takeaways from that game to really sway me one way or the other on this team.
Yeah. So one of the Twitter follows, the guys I follow, that I look at his stuff throughout the week, and then Thursday when I'm like going over my bets and stuff, I use his information. Parker Fleming is his name. StatsOWar, StatsOWar is his Twitter handle, and every week he tweets out a graph. Did we really get beat that bad? Which is kind of what you're talking about. It's the net success rates. So I don't know exactly. It's very analytical, but I don't even know how to I don't even know how to properly relay this on verbally, because I don't exactly understand this, but basically what it says is, although it was a 14-point game, Penn State dominated Illinois on Saturday, as you can see on the far right here of this graph. And as you can see on the left, if you watched Friday night, Washington dominated Rutgers, but Rutgers won that game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they're saying. The closer the logos are together, the closer the game was. The farther away the logos are from each other, the more of a blowout it was. So what you were saying about your buddy, Penn State really did control that game, dominated the game. But that can be a positive for Illinois, because it was still a 14-point game with Penn State playing the way that they did. So
it was tied at halftime.
At halftime, exactly.
Yeah, like sure, Penn State. I mean they did control the game, and it in that way it was. But again, this was a 7-7 game after 2 quarters.
Yeah,
you give up another touchdown in the third. you're down 14-7 after 3 quarters. I mean, I didn't really have anything to complain about. Like, sure, you can say that all you want, and I get the numbers, but like, I don't know. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. It was. I mean, Illinois had a chance with 3 minutes left. Didn't we have? We had the ball with like 3 minutes left, if I'm correct.
Sounds right. This was 2 weeks ago. I've slept since then.
Yeah.
Not very well, but I've slept since then.
Altmaier's interception was with 5:58 left when they returned it for a touchdown, but it was called back. So, yeah, I mean, 5 minutes left in the game, 6 minutes left in the game. You're in the red zone almost. You're at the 48, so you're across midfield. You couldn't ask for much better. But like you said, 2 weeks ago almost, or a week and a half ago. So time to move forward. And coming up is a game that if you lose, all the momentum that you have gained in the last 6 weeks is out the window, because this is one of the worst Big Ten teams that we've seen in a long time. And it is your former defensive coordinator who left you to go across the border less than 2 hours away, in division rival at the time, now no longer divisions, but head coach Ryan Walters comes back to town. And this one has all the makings for a beatdown, but it's Illinois football, so you can't really expect that to happen. Illinois is a 19-point favorite this weekend against Purdue at 2:30 Central. Yeah, 2:30 Central on FS1. 19.5-point favorite, 50.5 total for the game. Thoughts?
This isn't a game that you just can't lose it. I say that, we say that, and I've seen crazier things happen. But yeah, this Purdue team is terrible. And as you talked about, Ryan Walters coming back in Champaign. Like, if it's one thing, maybe if it's in West Lafayette, but like, you can't go into this. You can't lose this game. You're 4-1. You have a huge game the following week. Like, you just also can't look past this game either. Like, this is a very important game for Illinois. Because getting to 5 wins now sets you up really good for the last stretch of this season, because there's definitely some wins at the back half too. But yeah, you can't lose. You can't lose to this bad of a Purdue team at home. The whole Ryan Walters thing, you just can't do it. Not saying they won't, but you can't.
They've been so bad. So Purdue's 1-4. They won their opener against Indiana State 49-0. Since then, they've lost to Notre Dame 66-7, lost to Oregon State 38-21, lost to Nebraska 28-10, and lost to Wisconsin 52-6. So they've scored 7, 21, 10, and 6 in their 4 real games, because we're not going to count the first game. That has to be one of the worst offenses in the country. I'm looking at stat. They average 300 yards per game. And points per game, they average 18. Which is... it's not numbered, but it's way down there.
Tied for 120th in the country.
There you go. Out of 134, I think.
Hello, Mom.
I'm not even on there. I can't see.
They're bad. Their offense is terrible. They're clearly one of the worst offenses in the FBS, and this isn't a game that you lose. So you can't look past it, but you just got to take care of business. And whatever it is, a win's a win. I don't care. You don't have to beat them by 19 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just get the win. Nobody cares after that. So
exactly. That's what everyone's. It seems to be like. Most fans are like, we got to beat them down. We got to beat them down, which would be nice, but at this point, just win by 1.
Yeah, I don't need a beat down. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't just whatever
I
it is.
I think Purdue has won the last two against
Could be.
Illinois. Maybe more. I just remember the two because it was 2022. Illinois was having the great season, 7-1 or whatever, and they came in and there was a controversial pass interference call or something down the sideline. Yep, 31-24. Illinois lost at home, and then last year was an absolute massacre in West Lafayette. I remember that one because I was watching it from my honeymoon, and it ruined my day. It was awful. Not ruined my day. I was on my honeymoon. It was a great day, but I remember watching it from the ship. We were on a cruise, and yeah, that was not fun. But you got to get the cannon back. They made a comment. I think Bielema made a comment today in his presser that the trophy case is empty right now because Purdue has the cannon, Ohio State obviously has the Illibuck, and Northwestern has the hat from the win last year. So this is a rivalry game, a trophy game. Would like to get that one back. Do you have anything else to say? Because I want to go back and see when the last time Illinois beat Purdue was.
Not necessarily. I just can't get over the fact that this just seems too familiar to a couple of years ago, as you alluded to. So that's that's the exact opposite of what you want to have happen. Because again, this team is bringing in a lot of momentum. Yes, they just lost a couple weeks ago and they've had the bye, but like this is things are trending in a good direction right now. So this is just not a game that you can afford to just fall flat on your face. And I don't think they will. I think this team is better than that. And I think they've shown Luke Altmaier's having a fantastic season thus far. Penn State aside, like I don't think it happens. But you just can't afford for that to be the case.
The last time Illinois beat Purdue, 2019, in a rainstorm, West Lafayette. Illinois ran the ball for 242 yards. Dre Brown had 131 of those. And Brandon Peters was 3 for 6 for 26 yards passing. And Illinois won that game 24-6. I remember that one because I was at a wedding that day. I remember it rained like all day. So
brutal. That was before we were even doing this show.
Yes, it was. Illinois has not beaten Purdue since no one asked us.
Maybe we're the problem.
Sad.
If they lose on Saturday, we should just shut the whole thing down.
Yeah. Maybe. Remember last year I did post-game shows for football after week 1, and the second week I was like, I'm not doing this.
Toledo. I remember I watched you partially from Allison's grandma's house.
Yeah.
I remember that. Then what happened?
Yeah, exactly. Kansas happened. Not to put the cart before the horse. I know we talked about, just need to win this week, but the Michigan game was announced today as a 2:30 Central CBS, the big one on CBS. Biggest broadcast of an Illinois football game since when? I don't know. I mean, they
had Penn State 2 weeks ago on primetime on NBC. That was a road game.
That's true. What about home?
I don't know. It was an Ohio State game a few years ago. I don't remember who it was.
This one just feels different, though. I
think it's absolutely different.
It's CBS.
It's absolutely different.
Big Ten hasn't been on CBS in years. SEC made the 2:30 CBS slot into what it is. And will it continue with the Big Ten? I don't know, because ESPN and ABC are really turning the SEC games into pretty big production. So I don't know if the Big Ten can sustain what they did with the SEC through CBS, but this seems big. Just having Gary Nessler,
Brad Nessler,
Gary Danielson. Yeah. Having them in Champaign against Michigan, 100th anniversary of the Red Grange game, those uniforms, like a lot of stars had to align, and they're aligning. So take care of Purdue. You go into this game 5-1. Michigan's on bye this week, so they're going into the game 4-2 no matter what. Illinois is above Michigan in the rankings right now. 23 for Illinois, 24 for Michigan. So if Illinois takes care of Purdue, maybe you bump up into a couple spots. A ranked game at home against Michigan. Holy cow. Are we going? Are we going to the game?
I am.
Are you?
Yes.
I looked up tickets today.
First time back at Memorial Stadium, and honestly, Craig, I don't know how long. Yeah. I haven't been back to a game there in so long. I'm actually going.
That's awesome.
Dad and Cameron and Parker are going. It's kind of like a bachelor party-esque thing, but
nice.
So yeah, pretty excited to be there for that one. So yeah, hopefully they don't fall flat on their face on Saturday to destroy that momentum. But yeah, come join us, please. We'll be there. We'll go live. Yeah, very excited. It's a huge game, regardless of whether or not I was going to be in attendance.
So a thought you brought it up maybe last show 2 weeks ago.
Okay, great.
The options are Champaign, Knoxville, and Austin.
This game day you're talking about?
Game day, big noon kickoff, what the big pregame shows. Those are the 3 big games. You've also got LSU, Arkansas. I think that's probably about those would be the ones that they would probably pick from.
I got one that you didn't mention. And I hate it. But it'll be Bloomington.
Nebraska, Indiana.
Mm-hmm. One of them will go there. I wouldn't be shocked. Indiana is undefeated, and Nebraska's 5. If that holds, it undefeated and 1 loss. I'm not saying that they shouldn't go to Champaign, because I absolutely think they should, but
yeah.
I mean, we can have the argument about Indiana. That's not what this podcast is about. But
both of those teams are on bye this week, so
I think
next week they'll be 5-1, 6-0.
As much as
what
think
network is that game on though?
I think it's the Fox game.
Then big noon kickoff will probably be there. Yeah. Which that's where the predicament comes in, because is game day going to go to a Big Ten school because they don't have Big Ten rights anymore?
I think they'll go to a Big Ten school.
They already did. They went to Ann Arbor for Texas.
Correct. Yeah, I don't think that's.
Does that also play a factor? They've already had Michigan.
What I would question is if Fox goes to Champaign if they don't have that game.
I think Fox normally goes to where they have a game.
Typically, yes. I think that's usually how it's worked, but yes, the Nebraska Indiana is the Fox noon game.
Another point: did Cal help Illinois' case this past Saturday? Because game day had never been there. Game day had never been to Cal. They went, and it was bonkers. Game day has never been to Champaign for football. Do you think they're like?
I mean, if game day is ever going to come to Champaign, this is probably the game to do it.
I don't think it happens.
I don't think it is either, but I think
they'll
find another way to do it, another place to be.
They'll probably go to Austin because that's the ABC game. That's going to be Kirk Herbstreit's game. They'll probably be in Austin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. That's where they'll be. Yes. I didn't think what game that was. Yes. Texas, Georgia. Yeah. That's where they'll be.
They'll have to be there. So that sucks.
Or Knoxville. They won't come to Champaign.
No.
That's just move. Let's just get off that conversation.
But a fun hypothetical that I have in our rundown that I filled out.
Oh, great.
If a pregame show were to come to Champaign, where would they set up locale? Where would they set up shop?
Oh.
I think I know the answer, but I want to see what you would say. I really think there's only one logical spot for them to go, logistically. because there's the ideal spot that you would want them, but you can't do that on game day because there's too much going on. You can't add college game day in that vicinity.
Where are you talking about?
You can't do it at Grange Grove.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin to think where they would do that. What's your bet?
It's just up the road. Still on campus. Not too far away. So you should still be able to see it. The Quad.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a good chance of that. That's where they do it at Notre Dame. They do it on the Quad. There's a lot of space there, so
I think it would have to be.
Yeah, probably so.
It sucks that you can't get the stadium in there, but with all the game day stuff and the game day festivities that go on in the Grange Grove area, Lot 31 tailgate, again, this is a fun hypothetical we're having. This is obviously not going to happen, but yeah, I think that's where it would be.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the only place they could go.
Yeah.
Unless you want to put them on the baseball field or something.
I thought of that too. Like, do you put them at Demersion, like the golf complex, or I don't know where else you could do it. Honestly, is there anywhere? I don't know. I think it would have to be. It would have to be there. I know when the Big Ten Network does theirs, they do go to Grange Grove, just like in a corner, but they obviously don't have the crowd.
Yeah, that's not the same
game
thing.
day does. So
yeah.
Anything else? Illini football coming up. Actually, I should have said this before we got into the Michigan game. Purdue is on a struggle bus right now, as we know. They also lost their top commit for the next year's class. He was a 4-star, top 200 player. Dwayne Galloway, cornerback. And guess where he's going to be on Saturday?
Champaign?
He's going to be in Champaign for a visit against the team he just decommitted from. That is according to UI Recruit Zone, I think, is who it was.
That's what you call a kick in the nuts.
Yeah. They're going to have a lot of unofficial visitors this weekend, I believe, and he's reportedly one of them. Let me make sure I got this right. Going through Twitter. Scrolling. Yeah. UI Zone, Recruit to Illinois is the Twitter handle. Says Galloway will visit Champaign on Saturday the 12th for the game. So yeah, there's that. That's pretty freaking sweet. If you are a VIP member to a certain website, Illini Inquirer, there's some more info on that on the website that you can go read from Jeremy Warner. But quite a juicy little nugget there. In other football news, Big Ten wise last week, no real shockers to me. There were two technically they were upsets. Actually, no, one of them was only an upset. Minnesota beat USC. Minnesota was an 8.5-point underdog, and they won outright by 7 in Minneapolis against USC. And then Washington beat Michigan by 10. Washington unranked. Michigan was number 10, but Washington was the favorite by the books, by the odds. So depends on what you call an upset. Other than that, everything held strong. Oregon won, Ohio State won, Penn State won, Indiana won, Wisconsin throttled Purdue, and then Nebraska beat Rutgers in Lincoln. So I know you said you didn't watch a lot. Did you see any of that? That you have anything you want to talk about?
No. What do you consider the upset?
I go
by. Do you go by the odds,
I go by
or by the fact that one team is ranked 10th and the other team was unranked?
I think I lean more towards odds because the rankings are completely subjective.
Sure. I'm just curious.
So, and more often than not, Vegas has it pretty on the nose. They normally know what they're talking about. Um, so I go by odds.
Yeah. No, I think the Big Ten, we haven't been doing the power rankings like we have in the past. But I think this year there would be a clear 1, 2, 3. And then, yeah.
So basically the same as the last 2 years.
Pretty much, yes. Except instead of Michigan, it's Oregon.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what it's always been. It's just
Yeah,
a different team
yeah.
this year. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. It's Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State. I don't know, not 50 feet of crap. Probably 20 feet of crap, and then everybody else. But
So
hey, you know what? Illinois is in that next tier. So
these two teams don't play this year. So I'm just going to throw this out right now. While one of them's 4-1, the other is 6-0. Is Indiana better than Illinois? Is Indiana number 4 in those power rankings?
I haven't watched Indiana play football this year.
Have you seen their schedule?
I have seen their schedule though. I have a tough time totally buying into the Indiana hype, knowing what their schedule has been. So if I were to do a power rankings, I would probably have Illinois over Indiana, I think. But it's where I would have Michigan. I'd probably still have Michigan over both of them. Even though they just lost and they already have how many losses?
Two.
Maybe not. I haven't really given this too much thought. I just can't. I know they're undefeated. I just can't fully get there with the schedule they've had. I just can't. They're in that next tier, of course, but
FIU, Western Illinois, UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern.
I mean, props to them for getting 6 wins already. That's great.
I looked it up earlier.
And maybe they're legit. Maybe they are for real. But as I think it was Robert Rosenthal was tweeting out today, how many Big Ten teams would be 6-0 if they had that schedule?
12.
I don't know. Maybe Indiana is a juggernaut. I mean, maybe they are going to be one of the top 12 teams by the end of the season, and we just don't realize it yet. But again, I just going off what the schedule they've played, I just can't.
That's what I was going to say. I would not be shocked if they're in the college football playoff because I just listed off their 6 wins so far. The rest of their schedule: home against Nebraska, home against Washington, at Michigan State, home against Michigan, at Ohio State, home against Purdue. They could legitimately go 11-1.
Yeah,
a Big Ten team going 11-1. That might put them in the Big Ten title game. No, but I mean, They could. They could also go 6-6. No, they're going to beat Purdue. Yeah, 7-5. Yeah.
I think there's at least 2 or 3 losses in there. I don't know that. Is Washington and Michigan? Where are those games at?
Michigan they're both home. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're
maybe. I mean, I think they lose one of those games, but yeah, I mean, even with 2 losses, they still might get in. So it's possible.
Another team that has to look at their schedule, Michigan. They're 4-2. They still play at Illinois. They play Oregon at home, at Indiana, and at Ohio State. Michigan could legitimately go 6-6.
Yeah. Yikes. How about that? Michigan going 6-6 and Indiana going 10-2 or something. What in the world?
Yeah. Yeah. Next on the list, nationally, it was just a bonkers week.
Chaos.
Everyone called this the apple picking week, where the slate didn't look great. There was only one ranked versus ranked matchup, and I think it was the guys on Barstool that I listened to. They called it. They said those are the weeks where chaos happens, and it happened. 5 of the top 11 teams lost. um, including, most notably, obviously, number one, Alabama at Vanderbilt. Like, if you were to tell me Alabama lost on the road in the SEC, Vanderbilt would legitimately be the last place that
After
I would
the
have.
game they had the week before.
Yeah. Yep.
Which,
Yep.
mind you, I had turned off. Let me start over. I wasn't even watching that game. That was the same time as the Illinois Penn State game.
It's on SEC Network.
No, I'm
Wasn't it?
talking about the Georgia game, the Alabama game.
Oh, okay.
Because we obviously didn't do a show last week. I wasn't even watching that game. I saw the score at halftime. I knew it was a blowout. So the Illinois Penn State game finishes. I go to bed. And then before I go to sleep, I check my phone. I look at the scores and I see the score. I'm like, oh my God. So then I turn it on and watch the end. So yeah, that's what I was getting at, is that they lose to Vanderbilt immediately following what you just do against Georgia the week before. Brutal.
Yeah, I had a week before. I know it's been more than a week, so we don't want to spend too much time on it. But I had Georgia beating Alabama in a parlay. So I was like, oh, great, that one's dead, blah, whatever. And then they come back. I'm like, holy, I got it. I'm alive. And then obviously died. So roller coaster of emotions there, as with any parlay normally. But yeah, that's the first win over number one ever for Vandy, I think.
Probably.
Probably. That's
Incredible.
one of the biggest upsets in college football in the last 5-10 years. And then Arkansas beats Tennessee in Arkansas. Tennessee only scored 14 points after scoring like 60 per game up until then. And then 9, 10, 11. Missouri lays an absolute egg at Texas A&M. We talked about Michigan losing at Washington, and USC losing at Minnesota. So just some chaos in the top 11.
And then the Cal-Miami game too.
And then the Cal-Miami game, Miami should have lost. I don't know. I don't want to say should have because I didn't watch the game, but they were down 20. What were they down? 25?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, 35-10 they were down, and they came back and they won that game with 26 seconds left. Scored a touchdown. So, yeah, a bonkers Saturday for college football. Hopefully it doesn't continue this week because that would likely mean Illinois is included in that. So let's just have a nice, easy, all the favorites win. Let's get to the next week, and Illinois can beat Michigan. Anything else football, college football, that is? Is there anything that I might have missed?
No. I think you covered everything. I think we're good. I'm excited. Bring on Purdue.
I got some stuff in the chat here. The craziest thing was number 13 from Bama throwing an absolute tantrum. I briefly saw that video. This is from Ryan. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw that he was maybe like throwing his gloves or something. I don't know. And then Philip said Vandy last win versus Alabama. First win versus Alabama since 1984. Yeah, I believe that.
Also before our podcast started.
Also before our lives started, Logan Lee. Okay. I was just checking ESPN. It does say Quinn Ewers is expected to be ready to start this weekend against Oklahoma. So, yeah, let's look at the schedule this week. First in the Big Ten. Friday game sucks. Northwestern Maryland. Washington at Iowa is the Fox game. Wisconsin at Rutgers. And then Illinois Purdue is the 3:30 window. Penn State at USC. That's a good one. And then, we can't gloss over this. Probably the biggest game of the year so far.
Well, you had Georgia, Alabama.
We had Georgia, Alabama last week. Ohio State at Oregon.
Yeah.
This could be for the. I don't want to say Big Ten title because they'll probably play each other again in the title game. But welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon. Here comes Ohio State.
This is. I'm excited for this one. I'm definitely excited to watch this game on Saturday. That's going to be, lots going to be on the line there for both those teams. But I mean, both of them are playoff teams. I don't really see a path for either of them to not. And I think you're right. I think we probably will see them again in the championship game. But still, it's a huge game. Biggest Big Ten game of the year for sure. with the new conference and all this stuff. So definitely looking forward to that one.
Everyone was calling last weekend apple picking weekend, and then you come into this weekend and it's like clear your schedule, like don't leave the couch, don't do anything on Saturday because of the matchups. Guess where I'll be?
Not watching football.
At a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Who schedules their wedding on a college football day?
Not me. It was a college basketball day.
And the night before a college football game.
Yeah, that's true. I did it well.
In a city that's hosting a Big Ten championship. But the rest of the schedule is Texas at Oklahoma, Penn State USC, Stanford Notre Dame, so they're at home, Florida at Tennessee, Ohio State at Oregon, Ole Miss at LSU, Kansas State at Colorado will be a good one. So just a lot of banger games this weekend.
You could have had worse weekends to be at a wedding.
Yeah, I know. And it's
like this one's friends, like, so. Yeah, sure. There's some big games, especially the couple at night, but like,
and if I got YouTube TV, so it'll be on my phone at the wedding. I just won't be on the dance floor like Logan wasn't at my wedding, so it's okay. Even the Friday
nobody that I was with was
Utah,
nobody State. At that table that you sat me with was on the dance floor.
I know. I'm not surprised at any of it either. I knew you guys wouldn't come out there. I put you by the chocolate fountain, so you're okay.
Me and Faber had a great time.
Yeah. All right. A couple of basketball things. Did you see John Rothstein's tweets today?
I hadn't until you put it in the rundown, and then I looked at them.
So Rothstein.
Well, go ahead.
Rothstein had Underwood on his, I think, podcast. Yeah, on his podcast today. He only had 2 tweets from it. The podcast is out. I'm not a huge Rothstein fan, so I probably won't listen to it. But he did have some tweets. First one says, Brad Underwood tells me that Louisville transfer Trey White has been arguably Illinois' most consistent player. And then he just says that White averaged 12.3 and 5.9 rebounds per game last season. But the one that caught my attention, he quote tweeted that and said, Brad Underwood also tells me that if Illinois had a game tonight, 6'6" freshman Kasparis Yakachonis would be the guy who would be featured offensively. Underwood on Yakachonis, quote, he's separated himself. Thoughts, Logan Lee, on Brad saying that the offense would run through a foreign freshman if a game was tonight?
Am I supposed to be surprised by this?
I'm shocked.
Why?
He's a freshman coming from overseas. You have a 2-year starter at a big Pac-12 school and another guy coming from 2 years of experience at a Pac-12 and ACC school, and you're going to give the ball to a freshman? If this is February, that's fine. This dude has never played in the U.S. Now, I'm not complaining. I'm just shocked. I've said it for months now.
Okay.
I trust Brad Underwood.
All right.
If the game was tonight and you're going to give the ball to a freshman?
A few things to go off of here. Let's rewind, because last week was media day.
Yeah.
So when I threw that in the rundown, so we can talk about what came of that. But here's the thing about this team. This team doesn't have a Terrence Shannon or a Coleman Hawkins. This team doesn't have a preseason. This team didn't even have a preseason all Big Ten selection on a 10-man team. But yet they're still picked to finish 4th in the Big Ten. Brad doesn't know what he has. And nobody knows what he has. Brad, at various points, I listened to him. Norlander had him on his thing. He did a 15-minute interview with him at Media Day. Brad's talking up everybody because what are you going to do? Who are you going to there's nobody that you can really say at this point is their alpha. Who's their go-to player? They don't have one. He was asked several times, who's taking the last shot of the game. I don't know. I don't have an Io DeSumo or a Terrence Shannon on this team. I get what you're saying that, with KJ being a freshman, I understand that. But everything I have seen or heard about this team indicates that he's the most talented player on the court. So, yeah, you can probably say that should the ball be going through Kylan's hands or whatever week 1 in November, probably, yeah. The most experienced player on the court probably needs to have the ball in his hands. But the other most experienced player on the court is Ty Rodgers, who I don't know that I still trust to shoot a jump shot. Trey White, sure. Trey White had a great freshman season at USC and then was on the absolute worst team in college basketball last year. So, yes, are there more players that you might want to trust over a freshman just because he's a freshman, because they might have a little bit more experience? Yes, I understand that. But there's not a clear answer to this question. Like, there's just not. And if you think there is, like, you're crazy. Like, there's just not. So, like, the fact that he's talking up in this particular situation, in this particular interview, he's talking up like KJ, like, as opposed to Ben Hummerkaus, who I've heard him talk up, as opposed to Dragiv Lawhorn, who I'm not even sure is going to touch the floor. Like, I don't know. It's honestly, I take it as coach speak. Like, he's just talking.
Which Brad is the master of coach speak.
It's coach speak, but it's also the truth because he just doesn't know. Like, he doesn't know. And none of us do. He has a better idea than any of us do. But I don't know. I just can't say I'm totally shocked by him saying the ball is going to go through KJ's hands if he's the best player on the court.
Does his other comment change your thoughts on the starting five about Trey White?
I still don't know what the starting five is. I don't know. I've been back and forth on it for weeks. I personally still don't think Will Riley should be starting. I'm not there yet. I haven't seen him play. All I've seen, just like everybody else watching and listening to this show, all we've seen is clips on Twitter. So, like, I don't know.
So how's that different than you just raving about KJ having the ball through offense run through him? We haven't seen him either.
Everything I've heard and seen says he's the best player on the court. I mean, I don't know.
You haven't seen the same stuff about Will Riley, is what you're saying.
No, I haven't. He might be the most talented. I don't know. Again, the reason I say that about Will Riley is because with KJ, there's only a couple options at that position. Sounds to, from what I understand and from what I hear, he's only the true point guard on the roster. I think Kylan's more going to be combo off, and I think KJ will be too. But I think when you're talking about who's playing the wing, you have two proven D1 players, high major players, one who's your only returning starter. You also have the Trey White situation. That's why I say, without seeing anything, KJ starts, and I'm fine with him having the ball in his hands, but I don't know that I would throw Will Riley into that situation just because you have the other options there. And what is Ben Hummerkaus? What's his role? We don't even know if Tommy Avicic is going to play. Like,
yeah.
So there's still a lot of questions. I just think A, it's coach speak, and B, he probably thinks he's also the one that, is getting talked up as, potential lottery pick. I guess Riley is too. So, and we'll see what we get out of him. But I think that KJ has played at a higher level internationally than what Riley has. I think he plays a position that is more needed on this team than what Riley's going to. So, yeah, I think at this point it doesn't bother me as much as what Brad said. And I don't know what the starting lineup's going to be. I don't have a clue. I think Kylan Boswell and Kasparis Shakasonis will be starting. If Ivicic is cleared, he will be starting. If he is not, it'll be Morez Johnson.
I think
the other positions,
I think Hummerkaus is starting.
Probably, but I don't know that. I mean, I think that makes the most sense. He's your starting four. Sure. And then you have one spot between your only returning starter, another proven D1 high major player, and a 5-star freshman who is reclassifying.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I hate that phrase, but it's gonna be an interesting basketball season. You've got in here preseason ranks in all Big Ten. I don't have that pulled up. Do you have that pulled up?
I know they were fourth. I know
Okay.
they were picked to finish fourth in the unofficial media poll that was done by the Indianapolis Star and somebody else, Columbus Paper or something. I believe Indiana, Purdue, and UCLA were ahead of them.
Yes.
And then the preseason all Big Ten team, which was 10 guys deep, did not feature any Illinois players, which doesn't really shock me. Because I don't know who you'd put on that list. Again, for this, a lot of the same things we just talked about, I'm not sure who the guy is. Like, by the end of the year, I have a hard time thinking there won't be an Illinois player in the top 10 in the conference. But like as a preseason team, and I saw people were asking like, why is Braden Smith the preseason player of the year? Like, because he's the only returning first team all conference player.
Yeah.
He's the only returning all conference player, period. I think. Like, why? Who? Like, Omar Ballo? Like, okay, for sure. If you want to go that route, okay, fine. But like, that's it. Like, end of list. I mean, that wasn't like a big question mark to me. Like I saw some people were tweeting about. The list. Have you pulled up the list now that I've been talking this whole time?
No, I'm looking for something else.
So the all Big Ten preseason list just had a bunch of like names of guys that were halfway decent on okay teams last year. I just think that's the nature of what this conference is right now. There's no Zach Edey, there's no Terrence Shannon. Coming into the season, there's no returning guys like a Boo Booey or any of that. There's no Coleman Hawkins. Had Coleman Hawkins came back, he would have been I think he would have been a unanimous first team, a unanimous preseason selection. I think he probably would have been the second. But Braden was the only one to be unanimous first team or whatever. But it was like, I don't even remember who all the team was. All Big Ten.
I'm looking it up right now.
All preseason. All right, I got it. Umar Ballo, Peyton Sanford from Iowa, Dawson Garcia, Minnesota, Brooks Barnheiser, Northwestern, Bruce Thornton, Ohio State, Jackson Shellstead, Oregon, Ace Baldwin, Penn State, Braden Smith, unanimous, Purdue, Dylan Harper was the only freshman, and Great Osibor from Washington, who was the $5 million player. Yeah, I just like that list is fine. I don't have any issues with it. I mean, I'm gonna guess that Kasparis was probably, well, I don't even know that. It might have been Kylan would be the highest ranked Illinois player, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Big Ten right now
is a boring list.
It's a crapshoot. It's legitimately a crapshoot. You said Illinois was picked fourth in the preseason poll. Going by FanDuel, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're eighth. They have the 8th best odds to win the Big Ten at plus 1,200 right now. Purdue's the favorite at plus 360. Indiana at second, plus 650. Michigan State third at plus 700. UCLA plus 850, tied with Ohio State at plus 850. And Rutgers and Michigan are ahead of Illinois, according to FanDuel right now.
I'm not a gambling person, and I know that's more your bag. And I'm also not trying to sound like an Illinois homer. I would be comfortable taking those odds for Illinois.
Do not take my advice. This is not a gambling podcast. Gamble responsibly. All those disclaimers. If anything, throw some cash on it, because if Illinois starts hot, I mean, think of all the opportunities they have in their non-conference. If they beat Tennessee, if they beat Alabama, if they beat Arkansas, those odds are going to go way down. And even if you're confident, keep it. But even then, if you get the cash out option, If you put sprinkle just a little bit on it, and they win a couple of those non-conference games, their odds are going to change drastically, and you could make some money on just cashing out. Like I'm probably going to do that in the next day or two. Like not even kidding,
You
because
heard it here first.
those odds are crazy, and it's the same for the national championship. Illinois has the same odds as Louisville, Memphis, Providence, Mississippi State, Cincinnati, Virginia, Maryland, and Texas A&M. Illinois has the same odds to win the national championship as Louisville does right now, at plus 8,000 on FanDuel. Like, do the same thing. Don't put a ton. Just throw a little bit on there. If Illinois wins some non-conference games, those odds are gonna go way down. Cash it out. Because is Illinois winning the national title? Probably not.
No.
But if they're at plus 8,000 now, and they go and they beat Tennessee, they beat Arkansas, and they beat Alabama and Missouri or whatever, and they're sitting at 9-2 or 8-3 in the non-conference, and those odds go down to plus 1,500, there's going to be a decent cash out option, and you can cash that out and make some money. Again, not a gambling podcast. Gamble responsibly. Do not take my advice. Disclaimer. But might be some credence to that thought.
Yeah, I just think this is, as you said, it's a crapshoot. I think on paper, Indiana looks like the best team, but I think we said that last year too, or some people said that last year too. I think they totally improved, trusted Mike Woodson. Oh, they absolutely improved for sure. But again, I think this Illinois team is interesting. We just don't know. I keep hearing this is the most talented team and all these things, and I have a hard time fully buying into that. But I think what that means is this is the deepest team, and this is a team that already has 2 lottery or at least first round projected picks, which is not something that Illinois has ever had. They haven't had a first round pick since Myers? Or I guess Terrence was the first round last year.
Terrence, yeah. We can get into that here in a little bit.
But yeah, I think I still, I'm not totally there yet, especially after the season they had last year. But I think the ceiling can be high for this team. I think there's a lot of talent there. So we'll just have to see.
Okay. Quick hitters, some national stuff. Not going to talk any football related. It's week 5.
Did you see this the London celebration?
Yes, the Parent Trap. That was fantastic.
Loved it.
That was
A+,
fantastic.
No notes.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
MLB, you got postseason going on right now. Tigers and Guardians in the top of the 9th right now. 2 outs. That's a base hit. So a couple runners on for Detroit in the top of the 9th right now. Both NL series are tied at 1-1. And then the other AL games tonight, Yankees lead that series 1-0 over the Royals. What are your who you got winning it this year?
Padres.
Oh,
Padres.
I like that. I hope he does. I hope Mike Shildt does, because what St. Louis did to him was bullshit. So I hope he does win it.
I mean, I don't really have a good reason as to why. I think they'll get past the Dodgers, though. I just don't trust that Dodgers rotation. It's been a mess all season. And for some people's sake, I'd like to see the Mets do it, but I don't think it's happening. I want to see the Tigers continue their run. They've been fun the last few weeks, especially. But we'll have to see there. But I'll take the Padres.
I'm taking the Phillies.
Good pick.
Taking the Phillies.
Good pick.
Other news, Bootzilla in here. He's taking the Guardians. I don't hate that either. But I don't think they're good enough to win at all. If it's anybody from the AL, I think it's going to be the Yankees. Speaking of, I just saw the Yankees lineup for tonight. They are starting John Birdie at first base.
Never played first base before.
Never played first base in his entire professional career. And he is starting at first base tonight in the game 2 of the ALDS for the New York Yankees. Baseball, man. What a sport. the Reds have their new manager, Terry Francona. What are your thoughts on Terry Francona back in the NL, or not back in, joining the NL Central?
I just listened to his interview with Dan Patrick
Yeah,
on my drive home from work, and I've always liked Terry Tito. Um, I'm a little surprised he's getting back into it. I think there was a reason why he got out, and it wasn't anything to do with on the field. I think it was off the field stuff. I think it was health related issues.
yeah. He didn't look great in his
No,
interview. I feel like he did
so
not look great.
I don't particularly love when this stuff like this happens. It's happened before, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a talented team, though, man. The Reds need to figure out how to turn it around because they don't want to be the Angels. To have this type of talent like they have with Ellie and some of these other guys to not actually do anything with it. And again, that division is just not particularly strong. Like it should be, but it ain't every year. So it's certainly winnable. So I hope it works out for him. But yeah, we'll just have to see.
Might eat these words, but it doesn't scare me.
That's fair.
10 years ago, maybe, but I feel like he didn't do much with the Guardians when he was with Cleveland when he was there. So it doesn't scare me. But also, speaking of the Reds, Pete Rose passed away within the last week, I believe. Obviously, he's before our time, and he's obviously very controversial, but one of the best baseball players ever. And I know your dad's a Reds fan, right? So how'd that hit the Logan Lee's family?
Oh, it's fine. Tim's fine. I mean, big week for Reds news for Tim. Yeah. Should he go in posthumously? I think that's the big question here. Yeah, I'm with you there.
I mean, if he didn't go, like, because he died, he's going to go in now. Like, it doesn't make. Why is that a thing?
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Good call, Bootzilla. 3-run home run by the Tigers. So Tigers are up 3-0 now in the ninth.
Go Tigers.
Good call there. Good call there. Yeah, I mean, I think he should have gone in the last 3 years with the way the world is now, and all the sports books are marketing with Major League Baseball and the NFL, and it's one of the most popular. I don't even what do you call it? Activities. Not addiction.
I think it was.
It's very popular. It's just MLB being stubborn. I mean, he should have gone in the last 5 years.
I agree, but I think a lot of it too was him being stubborn many years ago.
Yeah.
I think had he gone about some things differently after the fact, I think we might be looking at a different situation. But he didn't. He chose to essentially fight it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a large reason as to why he never got in.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And then in kind of melting two professional organizations here into one topic, I don't think we've had a show since Adrian Wojnarowski has left ESPN to be the GM of St. Bonaventure basketball, which opened up his spot, obviously, as the ESPN senior insider, which Andrew Marchand, I feel like this topic is right up Logan's alley. Like I feel like this is something he's going to love talking about. Andrew Marchand, I believe, broke the news that MLB insider Jeff Passan was in talks to take over the NBA. And my immediate thought was, no fucking way. Like, that just would not work. It does not make sense. Well, today, Jeff Passan tweeted the Wolf of Wall Street video. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere.
I didn't see that.
And he said, baseball's better anyways, which dispelled all of his, leaving MLB to go to NBA. And then not long after, like minutes after, Shams Charania tweeted that he has joined ESPN as their insider for NBA, which makes all the sense in the world. As soon as Woj left, I tweeted how much money is ESPN going to offer Shams, because Shams was just as good as Woj anyways. He was getting just as many stories, if not more. So yeah, a bunch of beat reporter news coming in all different directions. This is your thing, Logan. What do you think?
I'm gonna side with Bill Simmons here. I think it's silly.
What do you
I
mean?
think it's silly. I think it's silly that we're paying these guys this much money to essentially tell me that Clint Capella signed a 3-year deal. Like I don't know. Like I get it. Like it's certainly news. Um, but I think the problem with it and why I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that ESPN is doing this is it's not even really. It doesn't really even benefit their network. The only thing it benefits their network on is that it has, that so they're not reporting, first reported by the Athletic, you know. And I know I'm saying a lot of things if you've already listened to Simmons talk about this, but I agree, and these are the same thoughts that I've had about it. It seems silly to me that they it you're paying this amount of money for somebody to tweet. Like it's not even your network. It's not even on your air.
Oh, I don't think I agree with that. I mean, look how much value Schefter brings to, like, he's always doing live hits, and like
Sure,
he's doing more than just reporting that Clint Capella signed a 3-year $80 million
I
deal. Like, he's
understand
doing
that
stories and
there are certainly big news, but like, does it change that much? Who breaks it in that moment? Is it really that important?
not those kinds of
Is it
things,
really
but
that
like
important to have to cut loose Zach Lowe, your best piece of your best basketball journalist, just so that you can make sure you're still paying Shams to break the um, Karl Anthony Towns trade minutes before somebody else does?
I think I'm going to answer your question with saying I don't know who Zach Lowe is.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'm also not an NBA guy. I'm going to try and be. I think I'm going to get League Pass this year. I'm going to try and watch more NBA. Um, so maybe that changes. I also don't think I think people care more about the sham stuff, the breaking the news of the signings and the trades and all that, than they do about a feature story on Karl Anthony Towns. I think people
This is
like
this is what I thought about the other day, and I think this is the time to say it. ESPN is really right now, the last few years, is really leaning into their name. They are putting entertainment first.
oh yeah,
They are putting entertainment before they're putting sports. When it comes to the talent, who they're paying, who they're not paying, who they're keeping, who they're getting rid of. Um, this is about entertainment.
content creators. They want
Correct.
the clips and the clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
totally. Which is smart. I mean, they're doing the right
Sure.
thing. They're doing the
Sure.
right thing. I think people Sports Center is no more. Like, I can't tell you the
Yeah.
last time I watched Sports Center. People go to ESPN for games, and that's really it on air. Like, unless I'm very intrigued by, a game that day, I'm not turning on NFL Live, or like occasionally I'll turn on the Pat McAfee show. I know it has a large audience, but the only thing I really watch on ESPN anymore is a game or a college game day. Those are the only two things that I watch.
I guess where I'm coming from is I have a hard time just understanding why it's that important for Shams to make the millions and millions and millions of dollars that I know ESPN is going to pay him to just tweet something out 5 seconds earlier than somebody else does.
Yeah.
That's what he's getting paid for. Like, I understand there's other hits and everything, and like he will be a part of the ESPN machine. Like, he will
Yeah,
certainly
he's
do
gonna
that.
be on air.
I
He's gonna
get
be
that.
Schefter.
I get that, but that's what he's getting paid to do. He's getting paid to just be 5 seconds faster than somebody else. And when they're cutting other talent to do that, like, because they are, and you can argue that they're not, they are.
They did the same thing with McAfee.
I know, and I don't particularly love that either. But I don't know. I just kind of think it's silly that that's what we're paying money for, to be
Yeah.
5 seconds faster. It's not about being right, because not that he's not right. But it's just to be a little bit faster than somebody else.
Yep.
So,
In other NBA news, the Bulls waived Marcus Damask 4 hours after they tweeted his media day year
what
one
an
picture.
incredible series of events
Like,
that
what a
was.
dick move.
Yeah.
by the Bulls. Like, he went through the full media day, had his picture taken. They posted the picture, year one, champagne to Chicago. And then the next tweet after all their media day pictures was, "We have waived Marcus Damas." Like, what the? He's probably, I haven't seen. I'm sure he's going to go to their G League team.
Yeah, I imagine he will.
And I'm kind of surprised that he was even still with them at that point, anyways. But that was just kind of shitty to do it the way they did it. But we'll see. Hopefully, he has a. I could see him being like a Malcolm Hill. Just kind of have a career in the G League, and then every once in a while have a cup of tea and playing a couple games, 5-10 games a year with whatever G League team brings him up to the big leagues. So, and then also sad news in the NBA: Dikembe Mutombo passed away.
Same day as
since
Pete
the
Rose,
last
right?
time, I believe so. Yeah.
It's a weird day.
I believe the NBA season starts next week, maybe. When does
That seems a little early.
Does it seem early? I don't know. I know NHL starts tomorrow.
It's usually right around Halloween.
22nd, I believe, is opening night. Yeah, 22nd. So we still got about 2 weeks.
Couple weeks, but yeah,
couple
close.
weeks. But NHL starts tomorrow. I do know that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, do you want to talk some Big Brother?
We can't. I have not watched last night's episode though.
Okay.
So
then we'll save that for another time.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
No. I'm happy to be here. Happy to do this. Happy to see you. Excited for excited for all things to come. No, I got nothing.
You're
just
so
rambling.
You're so positive right now. Saturday, Illinois, Purdue, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern on FS1. Man, you just got to win it. Hopefully, it's by a couple touchdowns, but if it's not, just win the game. Win the game. You talked about favorite earlier. I've been holding off texting him until after this game because I don't want to jinx anything. Because if Illinois loses this game, it could turn sour for a lot of people. So, might see you next week, might not. But until next time, that's Logan. I'm Craig. This is No One Asked Us.